Niagara 124, your source for news, entertainment, food, and jibber jabber. Put in your thinking caps, and prepare for your debriefing on current events. It's our final year, baby! Yeah! This week on Niagara 124, we are off script and off record. Who am I kidding? We have a camera now. This is gonna be crazy. Oh, what happened this summer? I am terrified to know. Oh, but of course I'm gonna be talking about local Niagara Falls news, including the primaries for City Council. All this and more on 124. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby just told me the Killers are dropping a new album.
Next Friday. It was announced months ago.
No, it wasn't. I've been checking. Well, anyway, welcome on this fabulous Friday, September 15th, 2017. Welcome to Niagara 124. As always, I'm Nico.
I'm Bobby.
And I am Joe. And my mic sounds weird.
Well, it sounds weird because
I can't hear it.
It's the lowball mic.
Does it work?
Yes, it works fine.
The people at home can probably hear me, right?
They can hear you fine. I can hear you.
Great.
So do we start with today's news? Like, there was a terror attack in London that I woke up to?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wait, my mom just texted me she can't hear anything, or...
She can't... Is the stream going? The
stream's going.
Try reloading the stream.
Try reloading the stream, Ma, if you're listening.
Okay, if you can't hear... Well, if you can't hear, why am I saying this? This is pointless. If your stream's kicking out, go to mynu.niagara.edu/8000 and get the stream from there.
Yeah. So just to remind you, the rules for those people who haven't listened in a while, we have a phone. What's the number for the phone again?
We don't have a phone. We don't. After last time when we got like some call from 17,000 layers of static.
I know who it was.
You know who that was?
I'm not sure if I want to tell you.
Okay, because we thought that person was gonna like throw a window through the brick.
Nah. I know him.
They're gonna throw a window through the brick, boy.
I know him.
You know him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
yeah.
Then yeah, technically we do have a phone. Not that it works well. It's
don't call us.
716-286-7315. If you call, I'm not guaranteeing you're actually gonna get through.
Don't call us.
We're very busy people. And if you miss the opening, if all goes according to plan, which nothing ever goes according to plan here on Niagara 124, there's a camera above me that is recording that theoretically will be syndicated and put up online.
I did not sign a waiver for this.
Yeah, you signed away your soul when you decided to join WNIA, Bobby.
We got that YouTube money,
So in case you missed, our former general manager here.
YouTube money. They're gonna take down our video because it's gonna be a copyright infringement for some reason.
Because
it's always a copyright infringement.
YouTube's been going insane with just
the royalty-free music we play at the beginning, which is royalty-free. It always gets tagged for copyright from the royalty-free company.
YouTube's been taking down videos of people who own like the thing that they're making videos of. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, YouTube's been being dumb as usual because they usually are dumb. As far as takedowns go, please don't take us down.
It's getting so much worse.
It's bad.
So anyway, the news of the day, ladies and gentlemen. If you are wondering, everything has gone really really weird.
22 were hurt in a terror attack in the London Underground. So,
that happened.
Yeah, there was a tube attack.
Again.
Not only did we have hurricanes Harvey and why am I?
3 hurricanes.
Yeah, Jose's here right
Irma.
now. Irma. That just when Irma was starting to form, like Channel 7's Aaron Minkowski's like, anything this hits, it will wipe off the face of the earth. And then it made a turn right for Florida right as he said that, and we're like, well then.
And here's the thing: any of you guys got relatives in Florida? Because I got
not at the moment.
I haven't.
Not right now.
Well, I haven't heard back from my aunt and my cousin in South Florida, so hopefully they're all right. I figure they are. This isn't their first hurricane.
Yeah, this is their first Category 4 near 5 hurricane. So prayers go out to everyone in Florida and Texas.
Yeah, exactly. We love you guys.
There was just an earthquake, a minor earthquake in Sanborn. For your local people.
One side of the country's underwater, the other side's on fire. It's not going well.
No.
Yep.
Yeah, we're doing. Also,
Want to talk the climate?
Yeah, climate change isn't real, I guess.
apparently, avocados. It's like the end of the world for white people because the avocados have increased to like $1.86 per avocado.
Well, that's
So I ran a poll, and by running a poll, I meant I asked a bunch of people in my PR class. I was like, "Is avocado toast really a thing, or is that like something that like this white
for hipsters it
And like
is.
3 different people turn their head. They're like, "I love avocado toast. It's delicious and it's so good for you."
Hipster moron.
I'm like, just because you're putting avocado on bread does not make the bread better.
If you just eat the avocado, it's probably better for you
yeah,
than
like the
even
avocado
toast.
is healthy.
just drive into it with a knife and eat some delicious avocado and guac.
But I went full like anti-liberal on them. Like, and I went like full blowing like liberal on their liberal nonsense.
Me?
Because they're like, no. It was like hilarious because they're sitting there and they're like, I'm like, this whole avocado toast thing needs to stop. You people need to stop with your avocados. And they're like, well, they're so good for you. I'm like, sure, until next week when they're not. They're like, what do you have against avocados? I'm like, considering avocados used to be like a nice thing you'd put on the side, when we just decided to entirely take all of Latin America and Americanize it, and we have to put avocado on everything because, Hispanics had avocados, so suddenly we need avocados everywhere. Everything goes back to, like...
Gotta love them banana republics.
it all goes back to basically we're just...
I mean, I avocados make some things taste good. Like
They
avocado's
do.
good.
Like guac.
Like guacamole is good, but it's not $4 extra good,
Yeah.
It's like... It's okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And, I mean, when everyone's like, well, what other good fats are you going to put on things? I don't know. Olive oil? I don't know. Hashtag Italian.
Yeah, why can't
I'm going to say right here.
Oh, man.
Olive oil.
Yeah, man.
I got a story to tell about involving Italy, man. So, yesterday,
Sweet lord.
I guess last year Olive Garden did this thing where they were giving away
The pasta passes.
Yeah, the
they
pasta
were giving it away
passes.
yesterday. What happened?
I went on it too to try to get one of the pasta. So they have the 200. They have 22,000 pasta passes for the never-ending pasta.
Yes, and then they
had
you get a trip to Italy.
50 passes for a trip to Italy for you and a guest, basically.
Yeah.
So I went on like 159. The clock ticks down to 2. All of them immediately sold out. All the 22,000 passes, all the 50 passes.
Yes.
Like, who the heck? What?
Price gouging. Man, they got those bots.
There's a lot of
They
price
got those
gouging, folks.
bots.
They
got those bots.
Well,
for
you
those
have to
tots.
you have to fill out all the information afterwards, and you have 8 minutes to do that before they hand it off to somebody else.
Otherwise, the bots get your tots.
But
Did you see? There was a tweet. There was a tweet.
By
And
who?
just because we're not even going to talk about news. Let's not talk about news. Let's just talk about tweets.
But I want to.
We'll talk about news in a minute. There was a tweet that was talking about because what is it that the Twitter handle food porn.
oh wait, what?
Food porn's a thing.
Food
Wait, what are you
porn is
talking
a
about,
thing.
Okay, well, they tweeted out there like, oh, crispy potato bites, and everyone's like, they're tater tots. And I'm like, actually, tater tots is copyrighted by the Ore-Ida company, so therefore, if they would have tweeted and said tater tots, they would have been sued.
Yep.
So check yourself before you get sued on Twitter.
Tater
Check
tots are-
yourself before you wreck yourself.
Tater tots are copyrighted.
Yes, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, the word tater tots is a copyrighted phrase. That's why you ever notice that when we went to school, it was never listed as tater tots. It was always listed as like
Tots?
tater bites or tot
Tater
bites
bites.
or something because tater
Potato
tots
bites.
is copyrighted.
Now, what about the restaurants that use the phrase tater tot?
They probably
buying
pay
them,
royalties.
They're paying royalties.
Are
They
you
buy
serious?
them from Ore-Ida.
What?
They probably buy them from Ore-Ida. Ore-Ida is like one of the largest manufacturers of potatoes. You know.
Yeah, so there's that.
They make the frozen potatoes. You know how it is.
So, news time, ladies and gentlemen.
What kind of
Okay,
news?
Well,
so
this is our first show back from the summer.
How about let's just not talk about anything that
Let's
happened.
not.
What? No, I
know
want
what?
to.
I agree with that.
Guys, you know what happened in November 2016? Absolutely nothing, and I'm not worried about it anymore because I don't want to talk about it
Okay,
anymore.
so here's the thing that happened, folks, and we're not gonna dance around to this one. So for those of you who don't know what DACA is,
Oh, wait. I'm going to correct you because before you even go in and say that Trump is rescinding, he's no longer... Guys, spoiler alert, Trump has now had a lovely dinner with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. I kid you not. He had a lovely moonlit dinner with Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and he's no longer rescinding DACA. In fact, he's going to encode in law the rights of DACA.
So wait, did Donald Trump just open like a bottle of Pinot, pour it like really nicely into like Chuck Schumer's glass,
This
and be
isn't
like,
the Marlboro and Merlot meetings of Boehner and Obama. This is just, no, Trump just sat there, Schumer was like, so what you doing? And Trump's like, well, I lost the entire Republican vote, so I guess I should switch back to Democrats.
I mean, I was a Democrat before I became a Republican, so this should
so now
work.
he's going back. If you're not familiar with how ridiculous politics is,
Where have you been?
yeah, where have you been?
Yeah, at this point, I don't care anymore. Just stop
Yeah,
talking about
let's
this
not.
idiot.
Well,
because,
well,
What we should talk about is the important elections, which are local
yes.
elections.
So for those of you who do not know, Byron Brown is Democratic nominee again.
Oh, you mean he's mayor
Mayor of Buffalo.
for 11,000
Again.
more terms?
Yeah.
And honestly, Byron is not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He does good. So you know what? Okay. You know what? I honestly, with Buffalo politics, the only thing I care about is when the Buffalo Twitters like to tweet out photos of Niagara Falls and they put hashtag Buffalo, hashtag Buffalo New York,
Not the same.
hashtag only in Buffalo,
Not
instead
the
of
same.
hashtag Niagara Falls USA, hashtag live in F, hashtag it's not even in the same county, which goes back in the 1960s when we were building the convention center.
Oh yeah.
Buffalo came out and said, we're going to build a convention center. And good old Mayor E. Dent, screaming, riding a white horse lackey, came and said, well, why would you put a convention center down in Buffalo, New York, when we're already putting the biggest, grandest convention center here in Niagara Falls? Why is anyone going to go to Buffalo, New York to have their convention
are
center?
you channeling your inner
I'm
Dimmadome?
channeling. Have you seen E. Dent Lackey? He is Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome, okay? And he looks at the guy in Buffalo and he's like, why? No one's going to go to Buffalo. We have a wonder of the world. They're coming to Niagara Falls. And the guy in Buffalo turns around and goes, yes, that is true, except we are the biggest supporter of Niagara Falls. You see, they spend 4 or 5 days here in wonderful Buffalo, New York, experiencing all the great things we have to offer. Then they go down for one afternoon to stare up at your waterfall. And if you ever want to know what the relationship between Buffalo, New York and Niagara Falls, New York is, it's that quote.
Basically.
That is it.
It's not the best.
It's not that it's bad. Like, we don't hate each other,
No.
but there's like, it's kind of like Canisius versus NU, where one side is putting all the effort at trashing the other guy, and the other guy's too busy, like, sitting here, like, not caring. And I don't know which side is which anymore. If you haven't been paying attention to Niagara Falls news, has so much happened in Niagara Falls over the summer. Oh boy. Well, first off, let's go right into the recent news, which is the
casino.
primaries. The primaries.
Oh.
The primaries is the most recent. Do not... We talk about that later, because I might go on a rant.
Wait,
It will not be good.
Okay.
So the primaries for... there was also a city court judge, but that basically I think Faso just won that, so that'll be decided in November, whatever. City council, there was at one point like 11 people running for 3 seats on the city council.
Yeah.
It was narrowed down to probably like 9, and then finally in the primaries it's been narrowed down to 6, 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. The Democrats are in this order. I don't know the order of the Republicans. The Republicans are currently Sam Archie, who you may know as always running for everything, Chris Vocchio, who retired from the Gazette at 50 to run for everything, and Robert Pascal, who, runs for everything. On the other side, you have your top contender on the Democrats, Andy Tuma, incumbent. Everyone loves him. He's a shoo-in. Kennedy, I don't know enough about him because the Democrats decided not to show up to that's a different story for a different day.
Okay.
Sidebar. The library was holding a debate.
Yeah.
And the Republican head accidentally tweeted out all the questions in advance to the Republican candidates.
When was
and then immediately told the Democrats, "Oh, I accidentally did this. We're going to change the questions." But all the Democrats were like, "Oh, you're hornswoggling us," and pulled out of the debate. Except for one of them that was like, "I should be able to answer any question thrown at me, whether it's rigged or not." And she lost the primary. She didn't even remotely win. So I mean, there's your answer. But second was Kennedy, and third was Grandinetti, who was an incumbent and should have had more, but somehow she was third in the Democrats, which means if even one Republican wins, Grandinetti's gone, and there's basically, we'll have 2 new people on city council.
I don't know any of these people.
Also, please, if you can, there's a GoFundMe. I could probably link it to the Facebook page, or you could just find it. Search Columbus Square Park, Niagara Falls, New York. Pine Avenue Redevelopment's like this really cool group of people on Pine Avenue that used to be the PABA, now it's PARP. Long story. Yeah. They spent like a ton of money cleaning up the little park on the corner of like 15th and Pine.
Yeah.
You know that park, Bobby. You know the one next to St. Joe's with the gazebo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it seems that 10 years ago there was a $300 water bill that someone who didn't own the property used up $300 in water. If you don't pay your water bills over time, it goes onto the tax roll, and now they owe $3,000 to the city, or the city in like a month, or the city's gonna seize the land and put it up for auction, or so I might be I kind of read this. Basically, they need $3,000, or we lose the park. In this elaborate thing that no one seemed to bother to tell them after they spent all the money fixing it. Like, oh, by the way, you have for 10 years you've had this bill due. So, I mean, if you want to donate, or if any representative or anyone that's running for office, hint, hint, is listening to this show, which, I mean, I would very much appreciate.
Please.
I mean, if you want to, pay that $3,000 and get your face in the Gazette being like, hey, I saved the park.
I saved the gazebo.
I saved the gazebo.
Yay.
Again.
Yay.
You know, that would be kind of cool. So, I mean, if you're doing,
Yeah.
Now let's go into.
Now is it?
So yeah, what is this? What was that? I don't know anything that's happening.
So from what I've heard, apparently there's a bit of a kerfuffle involving the Seneca Niagara Casino.
Understatement of the century. And this has to go back to the fact that let's go back in time to 2002 when Governor George Pataki decides to make a deal with the Seneca Nation of Indians. They are called the Seneca Nation of Indians before anyone around here decides to scream, they're called the Seneca Nation Native Americans. No, it's the Seneca Nation of Indians. That's what
They're the Seneca Nation
That
of,
is the correct terminology. Go figure.
Yes, that is the correct terminology.
Go figure, because Western New York, go figure. Anyway, the contract explicitly had an extension clause in it after 14 years. Because of course it does, it would naturally have an extension clause. But what they forgot to put is they laid out the payment plan. Years 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 10 through 14. And instead of putting 10 through 14 plus, they just put 10 through 14. So 14 years came and went, and the Senecas said, oh, we don't have to pay you anymore, because it just goes up to year 14, but the contract doesn't expire until 2022 because it gets extended. But that doesn't get extended. And the Senecas said, but we'll be good neighbors. We'll negotiate deals with the municipalities, being wherever in Allegheny they are, Buffalo and Niagara Falls. Mainly Niagara Falls, the moneymaker, the one our entire budget relied on casino revenue at one point. And Governor Cuomo, and we basically, first were like, okay, we'll make this deal, and then we said, we should wait for the governor because this is the state after all. The governor should have a say.
Yeah. And
the governor said, you are cheating, you are liars, you're misreading the contract, you're horrible people, yada, yada, yada. We need to meet. and the Todd Gates, who's the president of Seneca Nation of Indians, which is a sovereign nation. Basically, you have the Vatican in the middle of Niagara Falls.
Well, most Indian nations are technically sovereign,
I know,
given
but
the American Indian Acts.
Usually, they're not sitting in the middle of downtown Niagara Falls with a casino.
Usually.
But, you know, he's like, okay, well, we'll meet. And the first meeting, Governor Cuomo cancels. And the second meeting, Governor Cuomo cancels. And the third meeting, he explicitly cancels, saying, one of your men was spying on the New York State Gambling Commission in one of your casinos, and therefore we need to look into this because we're not going to talk negotiations until we get to the bottom of this. To which the Seneca said, what does that have to do with our casino payments? That has nothing to do with it. And then Governor Cuomo decides to... even though everyone is sitting here going, please do not let this go to arbitration, Niagara Falls really needs this money right now, which is another story I'm going to get to in a minute. Niagara Falls really needs this money right now, desperately needs this money. Cuomo stands up and says, where there will be no negotiations, this is going to arbitration.
So, yeah.
So, that puts a crunch on our budget, which is fun considering one of our credit ratings came out and they downgraded our credit. Standard & Poor's, I think it was, downgraded our credit rating. Someone else kept us as stable, but basically the state came out and the Niagara Falls Reporter, the armpit of news, because Channel 2, which is the
Really?
I don't even want... Channel 2... has a... I'm not going to say they don't have a vendetta. They like to cover the negative news in Niagara Falls. They tend to favor negative news in Niagara Falls, like, babies wandering the street or people getting shot or things like that.
Well, my family tends to watch Channel 2 for local.
They tend to favor Niagara... They really only cover Niagara Falls if it's something extreme. And then sometimes they show up if something cool happens, but, you know, I digress. Channel 2 digs and releases the state audit on Niagara Falls' financial situation, which right stamped on the top of it says, this is not covered under Freedom of Information Act. You cannot release this to the public. This is not meant to be released. This is an internal thing. And releases the entire thing because Channel 2. And then the reporter gets a hold of it and puts on their website the entire thing, which basically boils down to the state saying that the city is about to go bankrupt and they want to put a financial control board in. Which leads me to a lovely quote from the 1970s from Honorable Mayor Michael C. O'Loughlin, who is my favorite. I will tell you, my favorite mayor is Eden Lackey because he's a cartoon character. But the mayor I would want to run things at any given time was Michael O'Loughlin, because we had run in the red for about 10 years and almost defaulted 4 times in 1976, and he put us back in black. Like, we were balanced. He balanced the budget. He was the longest-serving mayor and balanced the budget.
Wow.
But O'Loughlin said he did recall the advice he got from Paul O'Dwyer, the New York City Council president, during Niagara Falls' own fiscal crisis. Do all you can to prevent your city from falling into emergency financial control board's hands, even if you have to shoot them, because they will handcuff you. You know your city. They don't. Now, in the 70s, you can get away with printing that in the Niagara Gazette, apparently.
Yeah, that was...
That was a bit much.
That was a bit much.
But the whole thing is, basically, the state came out and said, well, Niagara Falls should cut all of their things across the board, let the county handle their 911 and all their emergency services, let the county run it, and let the Financial Control Board come in and run the city. This was basically their point. That basically, we responded by saying, that's not going to happen because we're not at that point yet and our budget isn't as collapsed as people think it is. And it really isn't. Niagara Falls has been this, I don't want to call us, we're not sketchy, but we have been the underdog for the entire 125 years of our existence. Historically, you look in the 50s, they were talking about, this city is in a severe downturn, everyone left, oh, it's terrible, there's no jobs. I mean, it's historically, we are the Rust Belt, and we had a power plant fall into the gorge, and, you know.
So we were always
we
the
got
Rust
the
Belt?
big falling water, though, so it's all good.
I mean, yeah, we have
got
water
the big
falling off a
falling
cliff,
water.
so I
Yeah.
think, you know, maybe we should be able to
One of the natural wonders of the world.
capitalize on that. Also, the fact that, you know, right now I'm doing my thesis on the rhetoric surrounding urban renewal. Because I feel like there's this...
And Robert Moses.
Not really Robert Moses, although the Parkway was... to put it in Lackey's words, that damn Chinese wall blocking us from the waterfront!
How come you never came to the library while I was working at the library to do your thesis work? How come you never showed up at the library like you said you were going to show?
I did, but the problem is you work on the lower level and I keep going up to the third floor archives.
What entrance do you... What?
I walk right through the door, right up to the
maybe I'm not there.
Elevator. You probably weren't there. And the library's expanding their hours to the local
I saw that, yeah.
archive, so I am like excited because I desperately need those extra hours to finish this. But what I'm looking at urban renewal because there's this misconception that like urban renewal, and especially by 2002, you read the articles, urban renewal was a spectacular failure. And if you look at 1966. The federal government came on with a list of serious deficiencies in our urban renewal plan, and they wanted to pull the funding. And those serious deficiencies are a lot of what actually happened in urban renewal, like trying to put shops on Pine Avenue and having a bunch of one-way streets run into each other.
And the damn Chinese wall?
That was added before this, so you know we didn't have a choice in that. But in to put in perspective, our convention center, which was severely overpriced, massive convention center, which the United States government said was way too big for the city.
Really?
Oh, severely too big. I mean, it held Elvis twice, Miss USA twice.
Fish
played there. You know, I mean, it was a big deal. Like, a lot of people played there.
3 more minutes to talk about Niagara Falls. 12:30's coming.
Oh, fine. But I mean, a lot of things. In 1990, the traffic level in July, which would be like Canada Day, was so severe from Canadians coming to shop at the Rainbow Center. I mean, so severe that the Niagara County Conventions Bureau would print a calendar, and it would say, here's your predicted patterns of traffic. You'd have low, medium, high traffic. On July, they had to add a new category. Bananas. It was printed right in there. Bananas.
Bananas?
So how do we go from the traffic level is so intense and this, you know, it's bananas and there's so many people coming here and everything's stable and the Rainbow Center, which is part of urban renewal, is doing good and the convention center is doing good and everything's doing good, to 2002 where it left us with a series of lawsuits, crumbling infrastructure, and a giant hole in the ground because we wanted to put an aquarium in without having secured funding to just dig a hole underground. So, I mean, I'm trying to uncover that story and kind of what happened there, because I think there's more than just, oh, yeah, it was a terrible mistake.
Is that your thesis?
That's my thesis.
You gonna get published?
I don't know yet. It depends upon how...
Because I would have said, read Nico's thesis, folks.
Oh, well, I mean, once it's done, whenever it's done, I'll be putting it up. This thesis is like my
Read
baby.
Nico's thesis.
Read Nico's thesis.
Read Nico's thesis.
Read Nico's
But let's talk about, like,
thesis.
positive things going on in the city. So are you familiar with, I'm going to shamelessly plug my intern, because I'm an intern for Niagara Falls Community Development. Hi, Seth, if you're listening to this. And I would, like, you want to talk about what's really, like, spectacular. Niagara Falls Community Development is like the shining beacon of what a city should be doing. They just finished something called PB 360, which is participatory budgeting.
Peanut butter 360.
So basically, you know, people like to go online and they're like, why are you spending money here when you should be spending money here? And they all sound like that because it's Facebook. Well, the city, and Seth ran it because I love community development. We came with I'm just going to keep calling it PB 360. It's budgeting. It's peanut butter budgeting. This basically you could they went to the John Duke Center and they went to the parks and people could meet up and you could write down ideas of what you wanted to spend funding on and then you would vote. So basically, like 250-ish citizens in Niagara Falls, which is a lot for Niagara Falls people showing up, voted on how to spend like $360,000 or so. It was several $100,000 of
peanut butter
community development money on like where they want the money spent. And community development has done a lot of good work. I mean, they just last year they redid Hyde Park, which is like spectacular now. The playground, it's like really nice. The skate park is like incredible.
Yeah.
70th Street just got a new park. They're putting new basketball courts. I want to say, I can't remember where they're putting the new basketball courts. But
where's our electric charging station for the Teslas?
You mean the one at Niagara University?
We gotta tell you about this,
University
folks.
got a brand new electric charging station for electric vehicles. It takes up 3 spots in Castellani, but we are leading.
I'm gonna park my Tesla.
It is part of our goal within the next few decades to be a carbon neutral campus.
That's going to be so great. Now, how many people are going to be able to afford the electric cars that are going to be needed to come to this campus?
There's already 2 professors that have electric cars, and there's 2 charging spots. So
that solves it.
It's perfect.
It's gonna be. Well, they're gonna have. Well, I won't be here in like 30 years. So
the future is now.
Yeah, the future is.
I'll be here.
It's not like
I won't be on campus. I might be. Maybe I'll be.
I'll be here. I don't know.
You're not leaving. You're staying in Lewiston.
I'm getting out of Lewiston.
Move to Niagara Falls.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to. Here's the thing. I think I want to leave New York State.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No. Trust me, because and this was going to wait until the Niagara Wire, but it's been pushed back until the next issue. So I'm just going to say it here because this is like a big deal. So I don't know if I mentioned. Oh no, I was under lock. I was embargoed. I couldn't talk about it.
Non-disclosure agreement.
The Hotel Niagara. So if you're familiar with downtown, there's you know where the United office, the Giacomo is, the big tower.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, you know that brick building that's like curved like this?
Yeah.
It used to be. It was the Hotel Niagara.
Sure, let's go.
It was built in
Let's go
1925. Marilyn Monroe stayed there. John F. Kennedy stayed there.
That's
not at the same time.
I was about to say, got one of them famous Kennedy days.
So last year, and I probably mentioned this, the state bought it and then said they were going to auction it off. I actually found out back in January when I was writing the article, and once again, thank you so much to the Dean of Hospitality and Tourism here. Dr. Kurt Stahara is like incredible, fantastic man.
Shout out.
There's basically, here's what originally was going to happen. Delaware North was going to come in and said, we're going to spend $21 million to restore the Hotel Niagara. And Niagara University is going to use it with their students to be a learning lab, so their hospitality students could actually work in a real hotel.
Cool.
And experience hotel and events, because it's going to be an event center.
Cool.
And NCCC's Culinary Institute would do the food end.
Nice.
Then, because it may or may not have been leverage for Goat Island and stuff, and Delaware North kind of backed out of it. And who ended up picking up the slack was Brinewell's Development in Syracuse, or around Syracuse. They did the Hotel Syracuse, which was this other giant Art Deco. And, I mean, usually when someone backs out of a plan, it kind of gets worse. It is now a $42 million renovation on this hotel.
Wow.
Adding 2 ballrooms, 2 restaurants, a rooftop bar, 150 high-end hotel rooms, like expensive hotel. And the entire lobby and mezzanine and everything, the ballrooms, everything, will be done to exacting Art Deco Gatsby era Gilded Age standard.
Wow. Just so perfect that to keep the Gatsby reference going, it's so great that you could just run someone over with your car and say it was someone else.
It's so great that I really hope they don't have a swimming pool.
Tobey Maguire.
3 different people. Like the subtle reference, the obvious reference, and then Tobey Maguire. 3 different people saw three different Gatsbys.
Oh, it's a great book.
Oh man, Leo really needs to stay away from water.
Leo does. He does.
But I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. And I went into the Giacomo Wednesday, because I'd never been in there. It was the old United Office building. That building is magnificent.
Oh, yeah.
That is an incredible building.
But
I mean, in the 19th floor where the Sky Lounge is, you can see to Buffalo. That's right, Buffalo. I can see you. We have a tall enough tower that I can see you.
I can see Buffalo from my house.
I can see Buffalo from my house. And you can live in the Giacomo. They have suites, so you could technically see Buffalo from your house.
Nice. But
I can see Canada from my house.
Still, I mean, it's like, this is just my personal preference. I've always wanted to go, like, to a big city, and, like, because to me, there's more opportunities there, so, like, that's my plan. I'm gonna get out of Lewiston. Like, New York City would be awesome if I could, like, live in, like...
still be in New York.
But Niagara Falls... Niagara Falls has that big city
New York
perks
City
with
isn't
a
New
small
York.
town feel.
Niagara Falls has the big waterfall with the city.
Only in Niagara Falls can you know everyone's name, and yet there is a corner store in every corner, and you're never more than 2 minutes from anything you'll ever need, and you're not living in the middle of nowhere and have to get in your car. You can walk.
I mean...
And there's parks everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's big, giant, awesome stuff. Yeah. There's so much history.
Yeah, but I got other options. It's either like New York City, maybe Texas, or maybe California.
Well, I mean, you want to go to Texas?
Maybe.
No, okay.
Like Austin.
Yeah, Austin's good. Austin's a good place.
Austin.
You were there once.
Hey, I was there for a few days.
A Rooster Teeth movie that was mediocre at best. I actually saw that. I bought it on DVD and watched it. It was mediocre.
They've got the sequel ready. They're in post-production.
Oh, no.
And they're making another film as well.
Rooster Teeth makes solid stuff, though.
Listen, Day 5, Season 2, I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but that's been fantastic. Like,
isn't Ruby coming out again in October?
Ruby starts up again, Volume 5, October 14th.
Woo!
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Woo. When is that going to be over? That was our senior year of high school.
Monty had the first 10 volumes planned out.
10?
In his notes. Yeah.
10?
10!
Yeah. I don't know if they're still following. I don't know if they're still following like his original vision for it, but he had most of the stuff planned out already.
Man.
Not to be confused with Monty Eagle.
Yeah, I was about to say, was this the Eagle?
Monty Ohm.
Monty Ohm, who is dead now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he...
So...
It belonged to a guy who's dead now. Smitty Werben Jägerman Jensen.
He was number 1.
He was number 1!
Man, they're still making new episodes of SpongeBob.
Why?
Because stoners need something to watch.
They started playing the old episodes now, and I'm like so happy. Although the best episode is still the Krusty Krab training video. You can't convince me there's... Sounds
like a lot of hoopla! Sounds like a lot of hoop. Sounds like a lot of hoopla, right? Ha ha ha! Wrong!
I haven't watched SpongeBob in a very long time.
I don't think anyone has.
I don't know if it's still good. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a fan now. For those of you who can't see, I'm now fanning myself. We have fans in the studio.
We have a yellow fan, and we have a pink fan, and a blue fan, and an orange fan. We have fans of all colors.
Okay. This has just evolved into our mad ramblings.
Well, of course
so now we can talk about stuff that maybe people are going to actually be interested in.
More important. Hey. So now important.
It wasn't bad.
Now important stuff, folks. So North Korea is a thing.
Let's never talk about North Korea.
I had a dream that North Korea, a nuke was heading towards Niagara Falls. And so what I decided to do was put on a tuxedo, because I've always decided that if a nuke's about to hit Niagara Falls, I'm going to put on a tuxedo and just Guggenheim the thing. They're like, we're dressed in the best and prepared to go down like gentlemen, but we would like a brandy. I couldn't decide on which tuxedo, so the nuke hit before I could decide which tuxedo. So when I woke up that morning, I tried on all 5 of my tuxedos to decide which one I would wear. And then if you were wondering, yes, I actually did. It's the tailcoat. I mean, I will wear the tailcoat.
In the event of a nuclear disaster, I'm gonna have the ink spots I don't want to set the world on fire playing. I'm gonna fall out this one.
Why would
world on fire?
Why would North Korea nuke like
because we have a big hydroelectric plant.
Yeah, blow up the waterfall.
No. I don't think you understand that. I mean, North Korea is very good at the shooting things. They're not very good at aiming, as you may have noticed. I mean, so if let's say they're aiming for New York City, which is 500 miles away.
Yeah.
What do you think they're gonna hit?
Hawaii?
I'd imagine they'd aim for the West Coast before they aim for the East Coast.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna aim. They're gonna aim for they want to aim for something that's meaningful. And honestly.
So Los Angeles?
I don't think North Korea watches movies.
Wait, they do. They smuggle it in. Kim Jong-un has an extensive collection of Hollywood films.
Why do you know this?
Because I look at weird facts from North Korea. Look up weird facts of North Korea and what they tell their people. It's mad.
I look at weird facts about everything, and I know the fact that Kim Il-sung's body is mummified in the palace, along with Kim Jong-il.
Do you also know that they say the great leader does not use the bathroom?
Yes, there's a lot of things that leader of true Korea doth not do. Yes, we know. Yes,
he shot a perfect game of golf.
Game of golf on his first try. He was like 3. Yeah, we know.
He also got a bullseye at 3 years old.
The only person that can talk us down from nuclear war is that
James Franco.
No.
Dennis Rodman.
Yes, Dennis Rodman. And that's scary because would you really trust Dennis Rodman to talk us off the brink of nuclear war?
I wouldn't trust Dennis Rodman with a mop. So I wouldn't trust him with that.
My legs.
Well, we haven't been nuked yet, so maybe I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Use Dennis Rodman as a human shield. Dennis Rodman is here, Kim. You don't want to drop the nuke.
Shield me with your forehead.
Oh, God. But here's the thing. I don't think we need to worry about a nuke, because I think it's highly unlikely that one will ever be launched.
Listen, if one is ever launched, the world is over. Like, everybody's going to shoot up their stuff.
It's like a Fallout. It's like Fallout.
No, this is the end of the world. Have you ever seen that crappy Flash animation from, like, 2002? Fire all the business!
Or maybe it's like Dr. Strangelove.
It is not.
Mein Führer! I can fuck!
Why are you quoting movies from
1962?
I was gonna say from that director, but okay.
Kubrick.
Yeah.
Kubrick.
Kubrick.
As the Brits say, Kubrick.
The most He's not the most horrible director.
Whoa. Stanley Kubrick.
Person-wise.
Because he's a brilliant
Do
director.
another take and get it right 127 times, you know.
Yeah,
he's
but
not
he
as bad as James Cameron, who said that Wonder Woman is a step backwards in the feminist movement compared to Sarah Connor, who, mind you, he married Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, and she came out saying it was the worst several months of her life.
Are you excited for Avatar 2, 3, and 4 in like 10 years?
Oh man, I'm so excited. No one's even know what Avatar is. There's probably better off releasing Titanic too.
James Cameron, Explorer of the Deep.
Did you watch the season premiere for
South Park?
Yeah.
I missed it. Oh man,
Did you watch any of last season?
Yes.
So what they did last season they had that like
principle
they had that overarching kind of story going along the whole season. I don't know if they're doing that with this season, but it looks like from the start of it they're kind of continuing where last season left off. So
nice.
But it was good. I liked it.
South Park will never run out of ideas.
Man.
They will remain good for as long as we live.
No, they won't.
They definitely know how to like take like things going on in the world and parody, like make fun of them.
Yeah,
man.
Canada built a wall to keep the U.S. out. So that's interesting.
So yeah, TV
so what
shows,
other news do we have?
Have you been watching
Rick
season 3 of Rick and Morty?
Yes, yes.
I actually haven't.
You haven't?
Oh my God, it's best. I'm Pickle Rick. No,
I liked last week's episode the best so far. I thought that was a good one.
I haven't seen that one yet.
You haven't? Oh man.
I have no idea what's going on anymore.
It's pretty good.
It's good.
You gotta watch it.
Just Rick and Morty's like grade A stuff, man. You gotta watch it.
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And then the first episode of the 3rd season. And then, I don't know, I just lost interest.
Aww.
I mean, it's a half an hour, 25 minutes every Sunday night.
I don't know if it's just gotten to... Like, I remember when we watched it, I was like, oh man, when's season 3 gonna come out? And then season 3 came out, and like everyone, like people didn't even know what Rick and Morty was. Everyone's like, oh man, Rick and now they're like making Rick and Morty references, and I'm like, do you even watch the show? Like,
well, everybody's making Rick and Morty references.
Are you a real fan?
Are you a real fan of Rick and Morty?
I gotta give you
what is the 17th Mr. Meeseeks' name, huh? What's his middle name?
I gotta tell you this. This is a personal pet peeve of mine. I hate it when people are like, "You're not a real fan."
Yeah.
And they try
real fan.
And they try to quiz you on if you're a real fan. People will like even if they're not like that deep of a fan, other people will see it, get into the show.
Don't gatekeep stuff.
Yeah, don't gatekeep.
I'm not gatekeeping. I just, when people don't watch the show and they're making references, then it's like extra weird. Like, have you even seen an episode? And they're like, no, I saw a meme.
That's exactly what we're saying not to do.
How is that gatekeeping? How is I saw a meme, have no idea where it's from, and I'm making the joke? But
it's like, are you a fan? Have you seen the show?
But then they might check it out.
Yeah, this helps like people get into stuff. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with music. Everybody gets furious.
I haven't watched a single episode of Game of Thrones yet. Whenever people are making references and talking about stuff on like Twitter, I know what they're talking about because it's Game of Thrones.
Like, I just know they're talking about Game of Thrones. I have no idea what they're talking about because I've never watched Game of Thrones. And I don't go around being like, oh yeah, winter is coming. Boys? You get what I did there? Like...
Dorne is useless. Hey, you get what I mean?
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know. Like, apparently there's like a mother of dragons. I don't know.
And her name is Khaleesi.
Does she?
I know all this stuff.
I know nothing.
Haven't seen anything about the show.
Does she give birth to dragons? I know nothing.
And there is a guy named Jon Snow, and he knows nothing.
Yeah, and what does Jon Snow do? He's just like, allegedly he's just hunky and has long hair. That's all people.
And it's really sad.
And everything is so angsty.
Crawling in my skin.
Like, the only thing I know about season 3 Rick and Morty is Pickle Rick, and I don't know that because I haven't watched it. So
it's a good episode.
Yeah. Well, I think last week's was the best one so far.
Oh yeah, I'll check it out.
It's really good.
Is there a point where this show is going to reach critical mass again? I think we're reaching that. There's always a point where a show starts getting so explosively popular that it just overwhelms the market and then like goes supernova and then burns into oblivion.
What example can you give us?
Literally every show in existence, but I'll use the
Breaking Bad?
I'll use the Breaking Bad. Absolutely went supernova and say, but The Office.
Haven't seen a single episode of Breaking Bad.
I've never seen an episode of Breaking Bad either.
Never seen The
Throw
Wire.
pizzas on top of houses.
I don't get I don't know. The one that always weirds me out is like when a show is off the air for a while. And then it, like, explodes in popularity and suddenly everyone's, like, making references to it. Like, I never thought that in 2017, The Office was gonna come back to, like, everywhere. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, I'm binge-watching The Office. Like, do you know how hard it is to binge-watch The Office?
Not as hard as binge-watching Seinfeld.
Oh, people that binge-watch Seinfeld need to go away. It's been on your entire life. It's not meant to be watched like chronologically, and a lot of shows like when people
well, there are
certain shows that people binge watch. I'll never understand it.
What?
Because sitcoms are not meant to be watched in chronological order.
What about Always Sunny?
Wait, what do you mean? Like
Always Sunny's
like
great.
From season 1, season 2, season. The entire reason of sitcoms was they were built for television syndication, which means you can watch an individual episode and there's no real
in the case of like something like Always Sunny, they have callbacks to earlier episodes in the newer ones. So like why wouldn't you watch it chronologically?
Why wouldn't you watch it to know what happened to the priest who became a meth addict?
Oh yeah, that's like Always Sunny is one of like the greatest like long running like storylines of something.
Well, but even that one, I can get Always Sunny because it's still going on now.
Yeah.
So like you can catch yourself up. And there's a reason to like binge watch it because it's now. But like when people binge, it's mainly The Office because I grew up watching. I watched The Office unfold years over year. Jim and Pam getting married in Niagara Falls. I remember when that happened. I remember when we shut down downtown Niagara Falls because, oh my gosh, The Office was filming here. It was like a cult. And like people loved and Michael Scott was still a character because after Michael leaves, spoiler, the show was terrible the second Steve Carell leaves. It's a terrible show. But now all of a sudden, we watched it over years, and now people are like analyzing The Office. The Office was never meant to be
you can't analyze.
Like, people are like, oh, Jim's actually a really horrible person. Like, yes, we know that, but it was funny.
It was
like,
the joke.
Oh, he's so mean to Dwight.
That was the
joke. Like, that's the joke. It's a joke. Like, when people that... And that's what I don't get.
There's sort of a death of a sense of humor with today's
because
sort
they're
of people.
binging it, and the thing, Jim's humor was, I mean, Jim is he's a mean character. Let's that's
the point.
I mean, he's supposed to be, but because you're you're watching like 20, 30 episodes in a row at a time. You know how humor is good in doses, like once a week? Even maybe once a day syndicated.
Like say once every Friday.
Like
at noon.
every Thursday at 9 p.m. The Office on NBC. You had a week to recollect yourself and be like, oh, this is funny. If you start watching it all at once, not only does psychologically you don't actually remember half the show. They found out that people that binge watch don't remember most of what they watched, but the humor gets old very fast because you're like, oh, well, he's a jerk. You don't have a week off from him to be like, oh, well, he's not oh, yeah, he's funny again. Like, it's like, oh, man. Like, it went from, oh, it was funny the first time, but now he's just being a jerk. And all the characters start, and then people start sympathizing with Dwight. You're not supposed to like, Dwight is the best character ever, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like, Rainn Wilson, and I mean, his work after that is okay, but Michael Scott and Dwight Schrute are like the best, but every character in that show is perfect. If you watch it over time, you want to like, oh man, why is the temp now running the thing and high on cocaine?
It definitely is. It definitely, like, everything is definitely a different experience when you play it, or like watch it or play it as it comes out, as opposed to like doing it all at once. Like something like 2015, like Life is Strange, how they released episodes like every 2 to 3 months. You got to play one episode, then you got like 2 to 3 months to reflect on it, then the next one came out. It's definitely a different experience when you just do all 5 episodes in a row in like a day now, because like you just don't have the same time to think about it.
Some shows do that better, like
shows now do that better because what has happened now?
House of Cards.
House of Cards is not a sitcom. It's
a drama. Yeah.
It has a story arc.
Yeah.
It's not episodic. I can't remember.
It's really good.
I studied media theory, and there's a difference between like a show. I mean, the best way to put it is old South Park. Old South Park, you could watch any episode of South Park at any given time and just jump into it because the episodes are self-contained.
Yeah, like
Wait, we got a visitor.
Hey.
Do you know where Sam is?
No, I don't. What? Yup. Ron, we are on the air.
Ron, please.
We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We had a visitor.
I don't even have a jump button on because I thought that we all knew.
Well, I don't think it picked up anything that you said.
It did.
But
so,
okay. Well, no,
it's
like
fine. It's
but
fine.
like you were saying, South Park. Yeah. Older episodes of South Park, each episode's its own thing. Last season of South Park, it had a story going along the whole season. Like, I watched the first few episodes of that season. Then Wednesday night, when they showed the new episode of the new season, they were also playing the other episodes. I watched the last episode of last season. I had no idea what was happening.
With the ads and the gun show and
why they did that. And this is another reason. So when we quit TV and went to Netflix and the quote-unquote millennial binging scenario happened, in order to get people to watch more, like I said, you can't really binge watch a sitcom where there's no ongoing story arc because it wasn't designed. It was designed to be self-contained 30 minutes of stupidity, basically.
Yeah.
When Netflix started making shows that were episodic in nature, like Amazon's Man in the High Castle,
which
like you have to watch through all of Man in the High Castle because the story, it just grabs you. South Park, realizing that television syndication is now dead and people need to binge, put that in the show so people will binge watch South Park.
But isn't South Park's on Hulu, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But that's the new thing. So now, if you notice, a lot of sitcoms have this big running story now.
Speaking of Hulu, if either of you guys have Spotify Premium, $5 student Spotify Premium, they're also adding Hulu to that. So for $5, you get Spotify Premium and Hulu limited commercial.
That's right, folks. That's interesting.
That's a good deal.
That's a good deal. And also, for those of you who have Amazon Prime, they're doing a new show coming up. I'm very happy with what Amazon's been putting out lately.
I haven't watched anything on Prime Video.
Watch The Long Strange Trip. It's the big Grateful Dead documentary they did. But now they're doing a Now they're doing a series where musical artists, actors, and people like that sit down and talk about their
Play
work.
D&D.
No, they have dinner and talk.
I would tell you to watch Man in the High Castle, but it's not your cup of tea.
I love it. I watch Man in the High
Now I'm
Castle.
talking to Bobby.
Oh.
What is it? What's about?
Alternative history.
It's this alternate universe. It's actually perfect for today's day and age. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh God, no.
I shouldn't have said
no.
that. Don't take the Lord's
all right,
name in
all
vain.
right. Let's not talk about it then.
Yeah, it's a really good. It's based on the Philip K. Dick novel called Man in the High Castle.
Okay.
Basically there's this alternate universe that is, and there's these multiple universes. It's kind of sci-fi.
It's
but
cool.
The main universe. What would have happened if the United States had lost World War II
And the Nazis and the Japanese
West
took
Coast
over.
was taken over by the Empire of Japan, and the East Coast was taken over by Nazi Germany.
So like Wolfenstein.
Basically, well, minus somebody running around and slitting Nazi throats.
Yeah, it's a lot more like what would happen after the war's over, and like
There is a resistance,
It's the
but-
only show in history where you don't want Hitler to die. Like you don't because if you know what's going on in the series, it's you don't want him to die because the person who's going to replace him is even worse.
Oh God,
Yeah, have you watched season 2 yet?
I haven't. So
You
basically,
need to watch season 2.
so there's Mecha Hitler.
What?
no,
It is Wolfenstein.
it is not Wolfenstein.
Oh my God. Oh, check out Wolfenstein, folks, as well as Man in the High Castle.
Yeah,
check it out. Check it out.
Wolfenstein 2, the new one, looks really great.
I like
Wolfenstein 2.
Well, the first one was good. I liked
I
Wolfenstein.
mean like the newer ones, like the ones that
the New Order,
yeah,
starting with
the New Order, and then Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus, I think
the
it's called.
the New Order was good, so I'm really happy.
Yeah.
So I hope it's good.
It looks like it's gonna be great.
Well, speaking of video game releases, now can I complain about something? So
Yeah.
you heard about Shadow of
Shadow of War.
War,
Yeah.
and the fact that they, interestingly enough, put for DLC a character who they created to tribute a person who died of cancer during the development of the game. As you know, there was a lot of hoopla over that.
Yeah.
And that's a difficult thing to answer because it really is a touchy subject and really difficult to discuss. But I just think, I don't know if it was their decision to make it $5 or if it was someone else's.
Let's make money off of
Let's
cancer.
make money off someone's death.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I haven't seen any Lord of the Rings. I haven't
Shadow
seen
Mordor's
any
good.
of that.
Shadow
Played
Mordor.
Shadow Mordor, loved it, even though I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan.
It
I
is
haven't
more
seen-
Not a fan of Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
You play the
Shadow
video
Mordor.
games? Oh, how dare you?
Like Shadow Mordor, don't like what they're doing with the sequel because now they have a
Micropayments,
bunch
micropayments
of bunch
everywhere.
of things you can buy in the game that shouldn't be in the game. It's a single player game. Why do you have to buy loot boxes? I don't understand.
Because the AAA games industry are a bunch of greedy fools who will stop at nothing to suck as much money out of a product that they possibly can.
$1,000 iPhone.
oh
Yeah,
my
there's
god, iPhone X! What in the world is that?
It's just a Samsung. It's just your
Listen,
Samsung.
yeah, you know,
it's the exact
that's
same
it.
thing.
Okay, stop, wait,
It's the exact same thing.
Okay, no screaming for a sec, right? Saw iPhone X announced, hey, I'll take a look at this. What is this? Oh, look it up. It's the Galaxy S8 with iOS, and the hardware isn't even as good.
Did you see that the face didn't work? The face scanner doesn't work. They're like, oh yeah, boy. Oh no! I guess we'll do the alternate route. Punch in your passcode. Here, give us $1,000.
They got rid of the home button. They don't have a pressure sensitive button in the screen like the Galaxy. You have to swipe up to use the home button.
I'm
so,
still angry about the headphone
I'm trying.
jack.
You're trying to scroll down or something. It's like, oh, I went home on accident. Oops.
Allegedly, the iPhones are made to self-destruct because everyone who has an iPhone 5S has said that their phone has stopped working. Mine works fine, but
Mine
they're all
works.
like, well, it took all the storage. Like my mother's, the storage is down to nothing, and you can't delete it because it just sticks. No matter what you delete, it stays in your phone because they want to make sure that you have to keep buying new phones, whether you want one or not.
Yeah, I got mine right here.
But
It's
Apple's
working fine.
the best.
What phone is
company.
that?
I think it's an iPhone
That's a 4S.
4.
Apple are the
That's a-
leaders
that's a
in
4S,
innovation
man.
and courage.
Yes.
Steve Jobs is rolling in his grave.
Steve Jobs.
Steve
is
Jobs.
like-
Okay, I gotta be
Did
blunt
you
here.
see the new,
Not to
the
knock.
new MacBook where it's like, oh, we put a touchscreen on the top that replaces all of the command keys. Like, all the function keys have been removed and replaced, so you can see little tiny photos this big that you can swipe. Like, what are they doing? And it's like $17,000, and they changed the charger again.
This is so dumb. I think Apple is actively trying to repel its customers.
I think the problem is, to quote the Hello Moto commercial for the Moto Z with Moto mods, all phones back like 2007, like smartphones were all the rage. Now, nothing has changed. Throw the dart, completely miss. I love that commercial. I'll never buy a Motorola because what are you going to do with a Motorola? But, I mean, like, hey, snap on a JBL speaker. Have a camera, like, or just bring a camera with you.
Oh, it's fine. Sooner or later, they'll put implants and we will all be slaves for Apple.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Wow, we made it to 1 o'clock this time.
Well, tune in next week, ladies and gentlemen, where we'll have another wild adventure in our final year.
And if you want to watch this on repeat, you're on YouTube
We have
page,
a
right?
camera.
Yeah, we have a camera, and if it
Hello.
works,
Also,
theoretically it should work. It will be uploaded Niagara 124's YouTube.
New The Killers album next week.
Thank you,
Everybody
guys.
listen
Killers
to
album,
it.
New
Everybody
Killers
buy
album.
it.
Oh man!
Hope to God it's good.
It's great.
Okay.
The songs are good.
So
far.
for Niagara 124, I'm Nico.
Bobby.
And I'm Joe, and we will see you next week.
Ah!